Where do you rank the rookie running backs amongst the top 10 Dynasty Fantasy Football RBs? Where do you slot Jeanty? 1, 2, 3? Where do you put Harvey? Top 5, 6, 7? Hampton? You know, whole situation between him and Najee will be worked out by next year, but in Dynasty, you are factoring in the 2025. You're not just looking at only the long term. You're trying to win a championship in 2025. So does Harvey get a nod over Hampton in Dynasty? Does Henderson get a nod over Hampton? Do all four of these monsters belong inside the top 10? I hate to spoil it for you, but the answer is they do. And this is a Dynasty geared show. We'll draft at the end, so mix a little redraft in on Best Ball Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. So make sure you hit the link that's in the description. The link I'm gonna drop in the live chat right now. But you're watching a Dynasty show because the Dynasty content is now on the main channel. We'll just identify when it's a Dynasty geared show and when it's not. And even when it's not, we attack Dynasty and redraft at the same time because that's what we do. File on in, hit the like button. Welcome to the first Dynasty show of the year here on the channel from the perspective of, like I just said, we're Dynasty geared here on the channel as well as redraft geared moving forward. This is a Dynasty show. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Dynasty Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome. The phone lines will be open pretty early on this show, but we're going to break down all this stuff right now. I'm going to go to the board here, and we're going to kick off with just a safe top 10 Dynasty running back ranking that has Bijan and Gibbs number 1 and number 2. Jeanty certainly in the mix to be the number 1 overall player in Fantasy Football Dynasty. There's no doubt about that. Jeanty could go number 1, number 2, number 3. You could put all three of these guys at the 1 spot. But for, I don't know, a safe perspective, a pump the brakes, not put our skis ahead of our knees and put the cart before the horse. Let's rank it like this. This is a very safe avenue to travel. Bijan 1, Gibbs 2, or Gibbs 2, Bijan 1, or you want to throw both these bad boys tied for number 1. I'm fine with that. I do it myself. Sometimes I do this. Sometimes I just sit there and I go, what am I doing? What am I doing? How's Gibbs number 2? Then I do this and I go, how's Bijan number 2? They really are tied neck and neck. And Jeanty could get there, but it is smart fantasy football management to say, let's wait on that part. We don't have to wait on projecting a top 3 running back finish at a Jeanty. We don't have to wait on anything. We can decide to jump in feet first, throw us to the wolves. We don't care. We're not scared of failure. Marvin Harrison Jr. has nothing to do with Jeanty. Nothing to do with Jeanty. Stop trying to say, oh, we got to pump the brakes on rookies. Look what happened to Marv last year, Smitty. I could care less what happened to Marv last year. I could care less what happened to anybody. This is Jeanty. He's his own man. And so 1, 2, 3, locked and loaded. The real dilemma you start getting into is not who's 1, 2, and 3. This is, how do you miss on this? You don't miss at all. It's really starting to say, okay, where's Hampton come in? Where does RJ Harvey come in? Where's HN sit? Where does Bucky sit? And to be honest with you, and you guys can let me know who you go number 4, whether it be Bucky. And if I go over to my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings, which I'll drop the link in the live chat right now. First of all, here's the link if you want to draft later. I'll pin this link in the live chat right this very second. This is the link we'll use. Click this, sign up under Underdog, minimum of $10, and we're going to jump into probably a $5 puppy, I imagine. But this link right here to my thefantasyfootballshow.com rankings, bold predictions, all that good stuff I dropped right there. I'm going to take a gander at my rankings. Tell me who you think is next. Is it HN? Is it Bucky? Is it one of the other rookies? Is it Barkley for you? And that's not crazy to have Barkley. Is it Kyron? It's not crazy to have Kyron, especially if you cuff him. Is it Breece Hall? Do you like JT still? Is Chase Brown up there for you? I don't know that I'm missing anybody of those names. I think if you have another number 4, you're probably out of your mind. Because I don't think I missed anybody. How do you cook up another number 4 than that? Who do you believe is the next ranked player in Dynasty Fantasy Football? the argument for Barkley is that he has at least 2 years left. If he stays healthy, but the problem is it's hard to package in the injury. It's hard to expect injury. It's hard to do all that. I can't lower Barkley any further than like 5 or tied for 4 just because of the value alone. But at some point, I do prefer having a guy like Bucky over Barkley for the long term. I just do. I think you could get more maybe in the open market. Maybe not. It's hard to trade Barkley, to be honest. Some say Barkley, some say Hampton, some say Bucky. If it's me, and I love Achane. I love Achane. JT, I worry about injury. Kyren, I love him. And I still love him in Dynasty, but you got to cuff him. If it's up to me, I'm putting Bucky number 4. I'm so excited about Bucky's 2025 and beyond. I think this guy's going to be a monster. This is my number 4 Dynasty running back. This is my top 10 running back. This is a Dynasty show. The Dynasty channel has now flopped over on the main channel. It's all one now. And if you're wondering what happens, I'd subscribe to the Dynasty channel. I've turned it into Fantasy Football Unplugged. And what that's going to be is a behind-the-scenes look at all of the content here on the channel. Let me pull that up and show it to you. All the content here on the channel is going to be under. And so if you're subscribed to the Dynasty channel, or what was the Dynasty channel, it's become Fantasy Football Unplugged. You're still subscribed to it. Don't unsubscribe. You're going to love it. It's going to show you a bunch of fantasy content, but also from behind the scenes. Like when Aaron Rodgers finally returns to football or retires, that video will show a lot of the a month or 2 long struggle of trying to figure out what to do with that information. And then I'll break down from a fantasy perspective what I think. So it's going to be an unbelievable channel. Again, that is the old Dynasty channel. I changed the name. So if you're subscribed, you're still subscribed. The name changed on you. If you haven't subscribed yet, go to the bottom of the main channel here and you'll see the Dynasty channel is now Fantasy Football Unplugged, and you can see my 2 channels down below on my main channel. But back to the board here. Yeah, I'm gonna say Bucky 4. Then I'm gonna say next up, I think you're gonna have a hard time telling me I can't put Achane here. You're gonna have a real hard time. I could even suggest something like this, where these 2 guys are tied for 4. I think, you start looking at Barkley at this 5 territory just because of what he can do. I still think there's a big risk of injury. And so this is one of those situations where I'm probably trying to get out of this situation and use the vaulted value that he has. Kyren Williams is probably in the same boat. I still love the now value. I don't hate his Dynasty value, but there is a time where this guy's going to start to tail off as they ride this train into the ground. But I think this is where the vets kind of come into play. And if you were doing a Dynasty startup, you'd say something along the lines of, I'm going to draft Kyren and try and win for 2 years. I'm going to draft Barkley and try and win for 2 years. So here's what I would say in this regard. Then when you get to this territory of 6, Harvey is in my, and again with the ties here, it's hard to fathom, because this really isn't 6, but it is though, because I would gladly draft Harvey inside the top 6, meaning that even if Barkley was still there, even if Kyren was still there, even if, let's say, Achane and Bucky went, I could draft Harvey over Barkley and Kyren in Dynasty. It depends on my mindset, but I do believe this is a safe way to look at it. Harvey, to me, is this good. He's 24 years old. I could give 2 shits about that. He's starting his NFL career today. He hasn't been playing 3 years in the NFL. He's 24 years old, starting his career today. The mileage is low, and he's going to play 6 years. He's going to play 5 to 6 years. Even if you put him, you snapped your fingers and made him 23, he's playing 5 or 6 years. So maybe he dies off a little bit at 28 instead of 29, but he can play elite football through 29. I have zero concerns. Zero concerns about Harvey in Dynasty. In fact, I run toward it. I love it. I love the fact that people are scared to death of it. Now, this is where you start saying to yourself, Smitty, am I going Hendy here? Am I going Hampton here? What am I doing at this spot? And it is a tough spot. Going back to my The Fantasy Football Show, rankings and just taking a gander at what I've got even there, I look at it, I could change this every time I look at it. I've got Harvey number 5. I've got Harvey above Achane, Kyren, and Barkley on my Dynasty rankings because, like I said, you could look at this 100 different ways. You could look at it from a only long-term perspective, a short-term perspective, a combo of both. Hampton, Trey, Breece Hall, JT, Chase Brown. It's a freaking grab bag. It's a freaking grab bag. I'd probably say, if this is me, I'm taking Hendy. I think Hampton's right there. Not suggesting that he's not. I'm not saying JT isn't right next to those guys. I'm not saying someone's wrong for wanting JT in the tier with Barkley and Kyren. Like, if that was where you viewed JT, I'm not making you take a lap on that. No one's right or wrong on this. This is just a very, 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 very tough pecking order to crank out. So let me even get JT and put him on screen here. Just because I know some people are going to be freaking out. Where the hell is Jonathan Taylor, Smitty? How could you do this? How could you do this to my boy JT? Who are we missing? Bucky, Harvey, Achane, Kyren, Hampton, Henderson, Breece Hall, Chase Brown. Breece Hall, Chase Brown. Honestly, I think the drop-off's pretty clear as day after that. I like Kenneth Walker. I like, Charbonnet and Jacobs and James Cook and those guys. But it really comes down to Breece Hall and Chase Brown at this point. So 6, Harvey. 7, Henderson. Tied for 7, Hampton. Tied for 7, Taylor. Chase Brown, right in the mix. Breece Hall, still love him. Still love Breece Hall. And Hall does a hell of a job, I'll tell you that. And the value is going to be amazing for Breece Hall this year because even I can't find a way to rank him higher, even though I want to. This is probably my spitball morph between Dynasty, long-term Dynasty, win now, ranking. Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty locked in. Any order's fine. You could put Jeanty 1. Bucky, Achane, that's my 4. That's my 4-5 or my tied for 4th. I'm not even hesitating on that. I don't like Barkley more than Bucky or Achane. I don't like Kyren more than Bucky or Achane. I just don't. I love Kyren. I love Barkley. I like them where they are. I could draft Harvey. If we're taking a long-term approach, I could put both of these guys down here and put all 3 of these guys up here. I'm fine with this. There's nothing wrong with this ranking. If you're more build now, let's take this thing in a year or two. We're not ready now in 2025 to win the championship. This makes sense. This is smarter. This is probably the smartest way. If you're looking for a rebuild mentality, you want my long-term mentality, this is it. Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty, no particular order on these top 3. Bucky, Achane, definitely in the next group by themselves. Harvey, Hendy, Hampton, by themselves in this next group. You could put Chase Brown in there. Hall, I wouldn't. I'd keep Hall in the veteran bracket of Taylor, Kyren, Barkley, Hall. You could put Chase Brown at the tail end of this. That looks great. That actually feels really, really solid. I think because Chase Brown has a little bit of a, we're kind of wondering what they're going to do with him. They've talked about giving him less work. It feels like the ETN thing over the years where they say they're going to give him less work and then they don't. But I think because these guys on the row 5, Harvey, Henderson, Hampton, feel so much more, they're fresh. They have no mileage. We know they're workhorses for their team. This feels really, really good to me. And I put Chase Brown in the veteran bucket, but as a young stud in front of those guys if you're looking for youth. If I had to pick a way to rank these, again, I'm emphasizing that if you're in now mentality, it's different. If you're in long-term only rebuild mentality, it's different. If I had to pick a morph of all those mindsets and lock in one ranking for everybody that accounts for all of that, it would be this right here. This is in a tier setting. These are kind of tiers in a way, but they're showing you what rank the tier is capable of ranking at. So Bucky could be 4, Achane could be 4, Harvey could be 5, Hendy could be 5, Hampton could be 5, Chase Brown could be number 6, running back number 6, Barkley could be 6, Kyron, JT, Breece Hall could all be 6. This is my favorite look of the top 10 Dynasty running backs. This feels fantastic. This feels perfect. This feels like it tells the story of what's to come in the 2025 and beyond seasons for these running backs right here. This package is in the length of time you have a player mixed with the now power. This is the exact ranking I would take into any Dynasty startup. Why am I drafting Harvey over Barkley? Because I think Barkley could get hurt this year. I think his 430 plus carries from 2024 are going to be a detriment to his full healthy season that he's likely not to have in 2025. You can get mad at me all you want. I think that JT's injury history and the state of that team makes me feel like, yeah, what if he does have 2-3 years left? But what if it's kind of a down year because the Colts can't put it all together and they have a rotational quarterback garbage carousel thing going on, and then you kind of don't get, you get Harvey outscoring JT anyway. You get Henderson scoring as much as JT anyway. Hampton scores as much as JT anyway. So does JT's now value really overpower the young up-and-coming rookies that aren't proven yet? I don't think so. Same thing to be said with Kyron. I love Kyron. And I have Kyron in tons of Dynasty leagues, and I'm not trying to sell him. But you have to get Jarquez Hunter. You almost have to get Hunter and Corum. If you have all three, McVay's going to give you a top 10 running back every single year. They could draft another running back later. You're going to have to worry about that. But Kyron's got at least 2 good years left. But could Kyron and Harvey have equal years, thus have in 2026 one of your years burned? Yes. Could Harvey outscore every running back on row 6 on number 6's line? Absolutely. Could Henderson outscore every running back listed at number 6 here? Absolutely. That's why these guys belong on the number 5 overall line for RBs. Their capability of hanging with anybody at row number 6, capable of hanging with anybody there, and have the much longer term outlook with the low mileage. This is it. This is it.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Okay, so where do you rank the rookies? There. That's where you rank the rookies. How do you slide the rookies into a top 10? I keep seeing people confused about what's going on here. It says top 10 Dynasty running backs, and there's veterans and rookies on the board. I don't know what would be confusing about this. It's where do we rank and slot the rookie running backs into the top 10 rankings, and it's right here. So I don't know where the confusion is. Phone lines open. Dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in, dial in. I have to see if my phone line is working properly. But this feels good. I know it doesn't feel good if you're a Barkley owner or a JT owner, and I know you're here to bite back and bark about that. That's fine. I mean, I'm not even calling you wrong. If you're thinking, Smitty, I got Barkley, I can't sell him, I don't like this ranking, tell me I'm okay. Tell me I'm okay. Tell me that Barkley's going to be fine. He could be fine. It's certainly possible. But if I'm doing a Dynasty startup draft tonight, I'm drafting based off this ranking right here. If I'm trying to rebuild, I'm going off this ranking right here. If I'm trying to win now in an existing league and there's big cash money, I'm considering the guys, Barkley, Kyron, JT, a lot differently depending on the trade. That's what I'm doing. All right, hit me with some phone calls and we'll discuss. We'll probably do a draft in a little while, but this is the group. These are the boys. Bucky is Bucky's going to be an uncomfortable rank for a lot of people here, I think, especially outside of our community, number 4. And he's tied with Achane, meaning that I would probably rotate between the two if I had 2 drafts side by side, Dynasty startups. I'd be very comfortable taking Bucky at running back 4 in one and taking Achane at 4 in the other. But I'll tell you this, though. Part of me would be very tempted to have Harvey, Hendy, and Hampton over Bucky or Achane, you know, in some respects. Like, that just tells you how close tier they're kind of in tiers. I don't like drafting in tiers, but I like describing in tiers. So this would be tier 1, this would be tier 2, this would be tier 3, and this would be tier 4. So in tier number 2, these 2 tiers are so close together that I could merge them. I could merge them and tell you that it's just an order within the tier. This tier right here, I think it's close if you're in a now mindset. You're in an existing league and you're going to make a trade for Barkley, that kind of stuff. Then I think this tier is important, but these 2 tiers are close. These 2 tiers, 5, this tier here and this tier here are not that close. I wouldn't even want to trade Barkley. Like, even if you gave me something decent, I wouldn't want to trade Barkley for Harvey or Henderson or Hampton. I just wouldn't want to do it. This tier right here, tier 1 with Bijan, Gibbs, and Jeanty, is pretty far from the Bucky and Achane tier. I'd say the distance between this tier with Bijan, Gibbs, and Jeanty is further away. Not by a significant amount, but a pretty decent margin from this second tier of Bucky Achane, more so than the Bucky and Achane tier is away from this bottom tier here. So, and I'd say this tier is, like I said, you can almost merge them. They're so close. Travis, you're live.
Hey, yeah, I think obviously the top 3 are almost inarguable in my opinion. I'd have Chase Brown a little higher, but I pretty much agree with you. Once you get into that like second tier, then it's anyone could argue anything. Is what I'm saying with that group of guys.
Yeah.
Because like I would probably go, Achane, Chase Brown, or Achane, Hampton, Chase Brown, Henderson, and Harvey, Bucky, something like that. But I don't know how I could argue against you or someone else that moved those guys in that position.
Yeah, it's not a very easy thing to argue on any side. You're right. I mean, if you said, hey, I have Hampton there with Bucky and Achane, and I have Harvey and Henderson and Chase Brown on that row where you have the 3 rookies, you can't argue it. Like, if someone loves Hampton that much, they love Hampton that much. And there's a lot of reasons to love Hampton that much. If someone said Achane's being driven into the ground, I kind of view him as a shelf life similar to Barkley's, I could understand that. Like, it crosses my mind how much abuse is Achane taken. If we go through 1 year, let's say you're in rebuild mode or you're in dynasty startup mode where you're kind of going youth based because you want to try and win in 2026. It would make sense to own Harvey, Henderson, or Hampton over Achane if you're kind of using this season as a season to burn. You know, if this is a rebuild year for you, or you're drafting in that context to rebuild and then 2026. Some people draft for the year or two prior. Like in a startup draft, some people don't draft to win. They draft to build for 2026, 2027. They even, in some cases, want to get an early pick and then come in and everybody's got a different strategy. But if your intentions were to burn or not win 2025, then Achane probably wouldn't be the guy you rank ahead of Harvey, Hendy, and Hampton. Just wouldn't be somebody, because he's gonna have another year burned. You know, and every year you get past a age 25, 26 season, and I'm not talking Harvey because Harvey's just starting. You're inching closer to having that 2 more years, and that's scary. Like right now we're talking about Barkley having 1 to 2 more elite years left if he stays healthy this year, and everybody's trying to trade him in Dynasty. You can't get rid of Barkley for anything. You can't trade Barkley. Nobody wants to trade for Barkley. and he has the 2 years roughly left. You know, JT, I venture to say that after this season, JT will be impossible to trade. And so Achane will be 1 year away from being impossible to be traded. So it really just depends. There is no, what's hilarious is if somebody does come in here and says, you can't have, JT down there, or you can't have Bucky up there, or you can't have Harvey and Henderson and Hampton over JT and Kyron. You love Kyron. You could have any of those things. This is not a locked and cemented, ranking outside of the top 3. And again, yeah, like you said, like I said, this is all arguable. Bijan 2, Gibbs 1, Jeanty 1, Bijan 3. All 3 of them tied for 1. And you can't decide. All that's arguable. But taking one of these 3 guys out, I believe that's as close to something you can't argue as we could find. Someone could argue it. Somebody gave me a look, I don't think you're crazy for liking that, but I have Hampton inside that same tier with Bijan, Gibbs, and Jeanty. So there's 4 players in there for me. I can't argue that. I might not agree with it, but you can think all those things. If you think Bucky's going to be the 3rd or 2nd best running back this year, that's totally doable. Totally doable. These things are not. I just look at the runners in this bottom row. They have the most risk of either falling off sooner. So Hall, a lot of mileage comparatively, not a ton. I mean, I still like him a lot, but Hall, a lot of mileage comparatively to the guys with no mileage. There's odometers on Hampton, Harvey, and Henderson are at 0. Like, they haven't even been driven around the lot. They have 0. They drop ship these vehicles off on the lot, and they have 0 miles. So Hall has a lot less appeal from a long-term perspective. JT's been injured his whole career and has a lot of mileage. That is not a safe running back in Dynasty. Kyron, as much as I love him, I've got to be honest and say they've been abusing the hell out of him. He doesn't have 4 years left. He just doesn't. And so you can't argue he's better than the 3 rookies above, or the 4 rookies when you include Jeanty. Barkley, I get it. He could be the next Henry where people doubt him for 4 seasons. It's possible. But I'm going to go ahead and say, because those rookies above him have near as much upside, and the fact that Barkley wasn't even heavily involved in the receiving game, because, there's a lot of reasons to think that Barkley isn't going to necessarily be playing for 4 or 5 more years, especially with his injury history. Like, Derrick Henry hasn't had an injury history. Barkley's missed entire seasons, and there's a lot of risk there. And you give him 430 carries last year and 470 plus touches. It doesn't feel like it's going to end the same way as Derrick Henry going for 4 or 5 years. Derrick Henry, I tried to sell 4 years ago in the Dynasty League, and nobody bought him. I still have him. I've been cleaning up every single year in the 4 years. I feel blessed that I didn't get to trade him. But the problem is I don't see that replicating or repeating. So everyone, and for your Chase Brown argument, I love Chase Brown. This channel loved Chase Brown more than anyone creating content on mother-freaking YouTube. No doubt. No one liked Chase Brown more than we did. Nobody. And nobody really likes him more than we do now. I don't care where I rank him. We still love the hell out of the guy. But when looking at Chase Brown, there's a little bit of concern, I think, that this team will lean on him as a full-blown workhorse for 4 or 5 years is my only concern. Am I worried in 2025? No. But they have mentioned they don't want to give him too many carries. That's what they said about ETN for 2-3 straight years, and they continue to feed ETN. But, there's only some concerns that you can, and you again, earlier I said you could take him and place him with the rookies up here. I'm totally fine with that. I would just put him at the end of those rookies if we're going to pull him up because of the youth factor. The fact that he's got low mileage and Barkley, Kyron, JT, and Hall don't, I think this makes maybe even a little more sense. Put Chase Brown in that tier up above with the boys, the rookies, and since he's still a young buck and it doesn't have a lot of mileage, he could go at the end. I think that makes sense. But there's also a world where I put all 3 rookies above Bucky and Achane. It just really depends on the mentality and what you're bringing, to your approach. What strategy do you have? Let me go over to DJ real quickly. DJ, you're live.
Even gentlemen, yeah, I agree. I think if you were talking about a win now type of team, you might look at that six row with Barkley, Taylor, Hall, and with that said, maybe you would move if you are again in a win now mode. Maybe you would move a Bucky or A-Champ for one of those, and plus maybe you can get a one next year. Because again, this is because you're in a win now. If you're not, then you're gonna. If it's me and I'm rebuilding, I'm going to try and keep my youth, if you will, and then from that, hopefully be able to move some of the older pieces, or if I have to sell them,
I mean,
a plus one.
You add something into the mix when you're trading a more youth-driven player for one of these older dogs.
In terms of moving one of the rookies here, or moving?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you're moving any of the more youthful players for one of these older dogs, it's again, I have a buddy that plays for the now. We used to start a Dynasty league. This is back when, before I even created content. I had a buddy that we'd start a Dynasty league, an auction league, a keeper league, and we had a group of friends all from high school and college and all that were together. And my buddy would literally draft the oldest mofos you could find. If he was drafting today, let's say we started a Dynasty league, he'd take Henry, he'd take Christian McCaffrey, he'd take Devontae Adams. This guy was not afraid of anything, and he knew better than all of us because the league would always fold within 2 or 3 years. And we restarted. Everybody would pretend they got family obligations, leave that league, and then the same people would want to start a new one a couple months later after we officially closed the other one. It's like, you kidding me? You just said you wanted to quit the league. No one cared because everyone was excited to draft. My buddy would literally draft these old dogs every time, and the leagues would always fold. Always fold. Because Dynasty leagues are hard to keep together. And unless you have some sort of pay a year in advance, and if you abandon your team, you lose the money, and the money goes toward the new person that takes over and they play free for a year, it still doesn't always solve the problem, because then that person plays free for a year, the team sucks, they can't rebuild it, they quit, you got to find somebody else to replace it. It's just a big mess. So at the end of the day, people play too much for the future. And if there is an argument to make you draft these guys on this bottom row here, I like DJ said, if you're trading, you got to get more, because all these other guys probably command a little bit more. But if you were drafting, it wouldn't be insane to go in a different direction, take a wide receiver instead of grabbing a Bucky or an H-Chan or one of these rookies, and you're going to go late running back shopping, try and win a championship. But that's more so like in a fresh draft where you're trying to draft a now team. I think, if someone was in the trading business right now in a Dynasty league, you're going to be hard pressed to move one of these old dogs on this number 6 territory for one of these younger guys, because in Dynasty, people are excited about all this. I think Chase Brown will be the most movable player. That's why I put him at the top of this group. But down here, because I do personally feel that I'm not taking Chase Brown ever in front of Harvey, Hendy, or Hampton. Doesn't mean I don't love him. Doesn't mean I'm not taking him the next running back after. But these guys have 0 mileage. Their odometer says 0. There's just a lot of appeal about that, especially when you're talking about, in some cases, owning a Dynasty asset isn't always just to get the production. Sometimes you gotta have enough to survive in Dynasty. You have to have enough movability. You're going to end up having to trade and negotiate and find different players and swap, players out for more youthful players. Sell Derrick Henry before he drops off. Sell Barkley before he drops off. I sold Christian McCaffrey in a Dynasty league, and I put the trade up on my marker board in front of everybody, and I didn't even get a good reaction from everybody because it was coming off of Christian McCaffrey's monster year. But walking into, I want to say it was like June or July, I put up the trade that I just pulled off in a Dynasty league. CMC came off the monster season that he came off in 2023, walking into 2024. Christian McCaffrey was one of my biggest avoids of 2024. And I sold him for H-Chan and DK. And the reaction in my own chat was mixed. And I'm selling early. That's what you got to do in Dynasty. You got to know when to sell. You got to sell early. Look, Christian McCaffrey's nowhere to be found on this list. Achane's in the mix for 4 overall for running backs. So it's an amazing trade. So in some context, so taking it back a little bit, saying, why would I want, even if I want to win now, why would I want to draft Barkley or Kyron or JT? Because you need to have enough time to have players play well for you and still be able to sell them while they're young to try and swap them out. Because if you end up having a bunch of old dogs and you can't get rid of them, before you know it, your team has nothing. You're only hoping you get the number 1, number 2 pick in the draft. You draft that year, you hang on for another year, you get another good draft pick. You're trying to find that one Bucky on waivers. It takes forever to rebuild a team that doesn't have a good mix and balance of youthful players and, you know, some good veteran players that are going to last a little while. So that's why I'd say in some context, you've got to make sure you're drafting players to also remember that they might be movable pieces later. You got to give yourself, it's almost like investing in something that you know you can move for something later, and it's not putting you in a box where I'm taking this player on. It's great value, but I'll never get rid of it. On the resale value is horrible. Buying a 4Runner and knowing you can sell the 4Runner, the Toyota 4Runner, for almost nearly what you bought it, or if you upgraded it, you might be able to sell it for more than you bought it, versus buying a vehicle that tanks in value and knowing that you might have a vehicle you love, but you're never getting rid of it. You're taking a bath when you sell it. You either drive it into the ground or you're taking a bath when you sell it. Then when you go get your new vehicle, you have no money to put down and no trade-in. You might even be upside down. Whereas if you have a different vehicle that has good trade-in value, you can ride that thing as long as you want. You can win with it, but then you could also trade it in and be selective and smart to flip a team. All right, real quick, DJ, then I'm going to go over to Ron Navy.
Great points, which is why I think, again, if we're talking about a win now, excellent from the standpoint of being able to be consistent. To your point there, leagues do fold into 3 years, what have you. So this is why I say if you are a contending team and you have a young piece, that's when you want to trade them and get your one. You got to get a draft. You got to get a 1. You got to get a 2. No guarantees, of course, but I think in that strategy, that can help you, to your point, give you some balance. Win now, but also give you some draft capital, assuming the league doesn't fold in the next year. So great point. Yeah.
All right. Hang tight, DJ. Go ahead, Ron Navy. You're live. Ron Navy. What's up, Ron?
What's up, Ron?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good, man.
What do you got?
Did you see that interview on Harvey that this guy Smitty posted? Oh, hey, Smitty.
Hey.
That was a good interview.
Is it Harvey?
You sound pretty confident in there. Yeah, it was Harvey.
Yeah, I like Harvey. I love Harvey.
I know. That interview that you posted on him was pretty good. He's like, he wants to be better than Kamara, and he wants to be better than all these other guys before him. He wants to make an impact this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's in the right spot. He's in the right spot to do it. And here's the clip he's talking about that I put on my Instagram. The one where Harvey is literally moving around. It looks like Alvin Kamara. It's a spitting image of Alvin Kamara. He's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's all over, and this is where he's getting interviewed in the locker room when he says he wants to be. Right here, it says he went crazy with the Saints, Alvin Kamara. So I want to be better than those guys. I'm going to work every day to get better and just prove myself to all the vets and the coaches. And I want to make an immediate impact in this league. That's what he says. So it's on my Instagram if anybody wants to watch it. But it really is
he's motivated.
Really nice clip of this kid's speed, his agility, his side-to-side footwork, his lateral movement, his ability to pop out to the outside. This little catch, it looks like Kamara. And he's also got those quadzilla thighs, bro, just like Barkley. He's incredible power. I love that people think he's too small. He's not too small, I promise you. He's going to be so shifty at the NFL level in Sean Payton's offense. There's a world where Harvey's like my number 4 running back, to be honest. I could put him. I could easily put him right here next to Achane and Bucky. I really could. I love Harvey right now. I think it's gonna be one of our biggest wins, one of our biggest W's on the show.
Hey, on Chase Brown, isn't Moss coming back this year? So is Chase Brown really going to get used this much, do you think, if Moss comes back? Moss will take off some of that load.
That's worse than the Estimate comments, Ron. What about Estimate? Isn't Estimate going to get in the... Not your Estimate prediction. I'm just saying when people come in and say, I don't know about Harvey, Smitty. Estimate's still there. Like, Moss. What are you talking about, Zach Moss?
No, I'm talking about the workload. I'm talking about Chase Brown's workload. Moss will be good to go this year.
Well,
right?
I don't think.
Won't he be able to pick up some of that?
I don't think Moss threatens.
So they don't overuse Brown.
I think that the concern isn't Moss though. The concern is do they go a stretch of games with like dialing back Chase Brown, but it's not Moss I'm worried about. I could understand if it's like, do they dial him back like they say they want to? And the problem is, though, with an electric player, you take him off the field and you don't move the football down the field. You tend to throw him back on the field and say, we need the playmaker out there. That's the bottom line. But, yeah, I mean, I already alluded to, I'm a little bit concerned about, this is a dynasty running back ranking. I'm a little bit concerned about the longevity of Chase Brown's workload, health, everything just all in one comparatively to these young rookies, Harvey, Henderson, and Hampton, who have 0 miles on their odometer. That's why Chase Brown is below, but he's also ahead of these old dogs here that have a lot more mileage because he's fresh and ready to go. So that's kind of why I slotted Chase Brown where I did. But am I concerned about Zach Moss specifically? 0% concerned. I think Zach Moss,
not concerned about him. I wasn't asking if you were concerned about him. I was saying if Moss is healthy, he should be, and you're worried about the mileage on Chase Brown, which you only had last year was really only his more mileage year because his first year it was limited. So if Moss comes back and is any effective at all, he should be a good complement for Brown so they don't overuse him.
Maybe.
All I'm saying.
We'll see. I just don't think Moss is it could be another running back. It could be the rookie, what's his name? Brooks?
Brooks?
Yeah, Brooks, right?
Brookie? Or whatever his name is.
His name is Brooks, right?
Taj Brooks?
Yeah, Taj Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah, Taj Brooks. Like, I'm not worried. What I'm saying is I'm not worried about Moss at all. 0% worried about Moss. I am worried about them finding a way to limit Chase Brown, whether it's Brooks or a combination of whatever. Just enough to move him down. Like, I'm not saying, and I don't know if you guys remember, the threat of them drafting a running back that lingered throughout the entirety of the draft season leading into the NFL draft. They had more top 30 visits with RBs than most teams did. And while they didn't draft one, the board didn't fall a certain way for them. They were exploring getting another running back in and considering taking one in round 1. And so before that kind of developed, I was out here saying, don't take Chase Brown too early, because I'm telling you, there's some ways that this could go sideways on us if we're taking him at his ceiling value. And everyone's like, I thought you loved Chase Brown. It's all about being smart about it. So Chase Brown being a third rounder was a mistake. I kept saying, don't take him in the third round. Take him in the fourth round. If he doesn't fall, wait till his ADP settles again. Then all the threat started building about him maybe facing competition. The Bengals had a bunch of top 30 running back visits, which is insane. Like, to bring in multiple running backs as your top 30 visit, you're very much contemplating a round 1 running back or a round 2 running back. And they didn't, again. But that desire they have to offload some of the work of Brown's, and they took Brooks, they must like Brooks, is a threat. The mere thought process that they haven't let go of is a threat. So that's why Chase Brown, you have to plant your feet on solid ground when you're making these decisions, and not just fly by the seat of your pants and say, I loved Chase Brown last year, looked amazing, came out of nowhere, proved everybody wrong. There's a little bit of Tank Dell to this situation, more so. Like, there could be disaster waiting for us if we go too far into this thing and not think logically about it. Draft him at the right spot. Make sure you're protecting yourself. If he gets hurt or replaced, you don't lose your league. You still got a lot of firepower. Taking him in the top 30 or 25 overall picks would be really taking on too much risk. Harvey, Henderson, Hampton all are locked in as workhorse future running backs. Chase Brown is in that spot, but the door's unlocked. Somebody could open the door and take him and rip him out of the room. That's what you need to kind of remember. He's in there. Chase Brown's in the running back room. He's the only stud in there, but he doesn't have a deadbolt like Harvey, Hendy, and Hampton do, where they've locked that door shut. No one's coming in. It's their room for the next 4 or 5 years. So Chase Brown, until he finds a deadbolt, and we feel very confident that he's in there by himself, it makes him the riskiest of the group. So that's why I have him at the beginning of this lower veteran group of running backs.
Taj Brooks would worry me more than Zach Moss does.
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm not worried Taj will take his spot, but he's an interesting back if you have a chance to look into him a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, you see what I'm saying about the fact that this team has
I
been
think that's
from last year saying that they want to cut his workload back, and they didn't, but they said they kind of wanted to looking into getting a running back in there that was a big name running back. Like, they clearly have thought this through longer than a minute that they want to potentially have.
Not to mention, you saw last year how long it took them. It took Moss getting injured for them to finally go to Chase Brown. It was like,
yeah,
we were like tapping our fingers waiting for it to happen.
There's more tank. Like, if this situation was leaning toward Kyron and Achan, remember when they were kind of shaky? People are like, I don't know about this, and this is more of a way of going Tank Dell than it does Kyron or Achan. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it's closer. Like, if there's a meter and this is right in the middle, and this is Tank Dell, this is Tank Dell over here. This is becoming Achan or Kyron and an elite running back. That it's slightly toward the Tank Dell side. If I had to choose the gravitational pull of that, and what I mean by that is Tank Dell had all the talent in the world, but it didn't work out for many different reasons, whether it was busting and not having CJ Stroud connect with them, then getting hurt, being too small, getting injured, all the different things that came together to take down a player that had the talent to prove all of us right. But at the end of the day, the Tank Dell take, which I was a conductor of the train, I admit, ended up busting because of a plethora of reasons that all came together and just made it a bad outcome. I'm just saying Chase Brown leans more that direction, not all the way, just a little bit more. He could bounce back over toward the Kyron Achan, but he leans a little bit that way than he does the other way, just because of the stuff that's involved in that. It had a lot of it's gut instinct too. And when I look at Chase Brown, I look at the situation. It's exciting. I can't wait for his 2025 season. I'm drafting the hell out of him in the 4th round. But Dynasty's different. Dynasty, you're committing. So if you're making a draft selection right now in a startup, you're passing on somebody that could be there for 6, 7 years, 8 years versus somebody that you love this year, but there's risk involved. And if it goes awry in 2025, then you can't trade him for anything. If Chase Brown got hurt in the middle of the year and their commitment to him is already shaky, you might never get anything for Chase Brown in a trade. Imagine trying to trade Tank Dell right now. Couldn't get anything for him. So Chase Brown has a little bit of that not so beefy long-term value that you can't just turn around if something goes wrong and trade him real quick. He's done. If Chase Brown ended up getting injured and tore his ACL, he has 0 trade value. If Harvey or Hendy or Hampton had some sort of catastrophic injury, there'd still be a market for it. And you'd still be okay even waiting. If you waited on them, they'd still come back and start because they have high draft capital. But Chase Brown, because of the confidence level and the cementing of him in that role, which is not even cemented in at all, he doesn't have the security blanket. He is not tethered to a safety line that if he falls off the boat, they can pull him back on the boat. They might just let him be and drive off. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here.
Which is more indictment on the team than the player.
Right.
Really.
It's just like Tank Dell. I have to take accountability for missing on Tank Dell, regardless if it was my fault that he got hurt and all that. But there were things that were out of my control. But at the same time, you know, looking back, there were a lot of things that could have gone wrong. We were just hoping they wouldn't have all gone wrong at the same time like they did. That's Chase Brown. Chase Brown has that feel like he could dodge all the bullets and get through and he'd be completely fine. But there are a lot of things that could go wrong for him. And again, if he falls off the boat, I don't think he's tethered to it. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas these other guys are. They're all everybody from Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty, Bucky, HN, Harvey, Henderson, Hampton, they're all tethered to the boat. And of the veterans who are also tethered to their boats, they're older. This is the only guy on the board, Chase Brown, that's younger, that's not tethered to the boat. If he falls off, they're driving off. They're leaving him behind.
Sounds like to me, and to your point earlier, Brown is the one to be able to move now. In terms of his age, production, and
I would.
If you do have Brown and you want to move, do you get what would you think you might be able to?
I think you go for Harvey, Hendy, Hampton, because I think I'm ahead of the curve on liking Harvey, Hendy, probably not Hampton, but Harvey and Hendy over Chase Brown. And even if you had to give up something to get that lateral, you know, perceived lateral trade done, it's a safe move. You know, getting Bucky, HN, Harvey, Hampton, Hendy for Chase Brown, clearly by my ranking, I would do that. And if I had to give up a little bit more, I would. Now, would I trade Chase Brown in for one of the veterans like Kyron? I think, you know, that would be tougher for me to do because the risk of Kyron falling off or being overworked and injured, the risk of JT, the risk of Barkley, the risk of Breece Hall, those risk factors are very similar to Chase Brown's. They're tethered to their boat for one. That's good, but the upside of Chase Brown might outweigh the risk of not being tethered to the ship, and so Chase Brown might have a little more appeal. Would I trade for Barkley using Chase Brown if I could win a bunch of money? Hell yeah. Would I trade Chase Brown for Kyron if I could win a bunch of money this year? Maybe, but Chase Brown might get you the same production this year, so you got to weigh that out differently. Would JT be better than Chase Brown? I don't think so. I think the risk level on JT is super high. Breece Hall is an interesting one because I think he's getting thrown into this, like, I can't recover. I've got to have a perfect season or I'm done or they'll move on from me. I don't know that I feel that way about Breece Hall. In some ways, I have Breece Hall a lot higher ranked, but maybe I don't state it here. It's understated. It's kind of one of those things that, like, in my gut, when I'm on a, you know, trade offer comes in and I can get Breece Hall on the cheap, I'm kind of factoring in this, like, I think people are misjudging Breece Hall's long-term value.
I do too.
You know, in some ways, I could put him at the front of this. In fact, you know, I'd probably say I would.
Two things with Breece and Chase Brown are they're involved so much in the PPR game for fantasy that having, and I know everyone catches balls now, but Chase Brown and Breece Hall catch a ton of balls and score a lot.
In full PPR, it makes a big difference. Yeah, I'd almost say I like this a little better. This look. I know Breece Hall's got some concerns, but even if Breece Hall got underused and they traded him, another team would gladly take him. He still got another shot. If Chase Brown tore his ACL, there's a chance no team picked him up to start him. I'm not saying they wouldn't bring him in like if he was a free agent, and he wouldn't be able to be cut if he tore his ACL anyway because you can't cut an injured player. But I'm just trying to give you, like, paint a picture that if Breece Hall had a bad year or injury and he got let go, another team would grab him. And I think a team would grab him to start him. Chase Brown, I think if he disappointed, everyone, it's a copycat league. It's a weird league. I think people look at it just like they don't look at J.K. Dobbins as a usable option right now. You don't see Nick Chubb as a usable option. When a team discards a player, even if they look great in the offseason, the whole league tends to follow suit. It's really weird. It feels a lot like Draft Day. That's why the movie Draft Day is so realistic. When I first saw it, I didn't think so. And as I started to really dig into GM decision-making and watching coaches make decisions, and social media opened up a lot of that. So Draft Day came out before social was really, really big, where you could find out a lot of information about what coaches are thinking. Everything was pretty, locked down. But as social media grew and you were able to get your hands on different information, read different takes, get insiders' takes on what GMs are thinking, even though there's a lot of smoke and lies and smoke season, it still opens your eyes to, like, oh my God, this is actually more like draft day than I ever imagined. These owners, these teams, and then when people come to me and say, Smitty, you think you know more than these GMs and owners? Yes, I arrogantly do. As I say, I wouldn't be the arrogant prick that I am if I literally sat here and said, yeah, what do I know? What do I know? Why would you watch me if I was like, what do I know? I'm just, I'm not a GM, but I hate when people say that. Like, why are you creating content then? I'm not a GM, or I'm not an expert, or I'm not a scout, or I'm not a doctor, so I can't really, that's, you got to learn those things. You learn them to the best of your ability. You deploy the information the best way you can. You're wrong, you're right. People will be the decider of that. And whether people come back will be, the evidence of whether it worked out. When someone comes in and goes, let me see, like people walk in, they've never seen the show before. They walk in, they go, let me see a list of your predictions you've landed and ones that you've missed. Go, list them off. Like in the comments, I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? What do you think I'm going to stop my show to prove to one person whether I'm worth my weight? Like you're going to miss, we're going to land some, we're going to miss some. I can miss some of these. It happens, but look, it is a business full of predicting. And yes, I do believe that GMs and coaches and teams make mistakes at every turn. When I say Shedeur Sanders, 32 teams, even the Browns made a mistake in round 2, made a mistake in round 3, made a mistake in round 4. Like there's a continuous mistakes made back to back to back by teams. Passing on this kid for what? Smitty, you think you know so much. Don't you think all these teams have more information about it than you? I think these teams are morons. I think the people making decisions half the time, the brass, the suits upstairs are morons. So no, I don't believe that someone has more information than I about something. In fact, I have a different angle on it. And I think my angle has been spot on from the beginning, which was that if you pulled this kid away from his dad for 10 minutes, you would see him start to change and realize that the shadow's so big, you just needed to ask him, blink twice if you don't agree with your father's teachings. That's all he had to do. The psychology behind this is crazy. The fact that no team said to themselves, look, hey, what do you think happens if we get him away from his father? He's never been coached by anybody else but his father. He's been under his father's thumb his entire career. I think he changes. I think he evolves. I think he gets humbled. And what have you seen since the day he was drafted? Not before, not what all the teams said about him, supposedly, not what a bunch of people said they were trying to tank his value with anonymous quotes. What have you seen with Shedeur so far? A humble kid that looks like he's grateful where he's at. He hasn't shown a single ounce of being upset or feeling like he's been slighted. He's literally taking it in stride like nobody I've ever seen. Shedeur's endured more hatred and people trying to shove him down than any prospect I've seen in 10 years. Maybe ever. And I've never seen a kid respond the way he's responded. And anybody else saying differently is just hating. You're hating because your take was that he was bad. You're hating because your take was that he's an arrogant prick. And your take is that you want to double down on that. No one can call into the show. And my phone line's wide open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
No one can call into the show and convince me that Shedeur Sanders hasn't handled things perfectly since being drafted. The hatred for this kid is unreal. I can't wait for him to succeed. The chip on his shoulder is bigger than any chip that's ever been created. And the team he's on is garbage. There's no one going to take... He's going to have the easiest path to take the job. I just hope the Browns don't find a way to Cleveland Brown this thing. And...
Oh, they will.
They might. They might.
With Chase Brown, regardless of who you think you might be able to get in terms of an older player, I think I'm moving off of entirely. So if I'm able to get a second-round pick in this year's draft with the running back class being the way that it is, I think at the bare minimum, if I can get a 2, maybe I can grab Scatterable,
Wait, what? So what's your trade? Chase Brown for what? Hello, DJ. I guess he might have hung up.
Maybe he got cut off.
DJ, call back.
I thought he said Chase Brown for a second-round pick. But
I thought he said
I
thought he said Chase Brown for Scatterboo and a second-round pick. You can't make that trade. Scatterboo's a nothing burger right now. He's a very nice sleeper player that we all love very, very much, and we think that Scatterboo could be, something special. But he's a free, dart throw right now. He's a second-round pick that you can get. Is that what you said, DJ? A second rounder and Scatterboo for Chase Brown? It's okay if you did, but that would not be a good trade. DJ, hello. Is everybody else there? Travis, Ron?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Okay, I don't know where DJ's phone's going.
I think
DJ's
Shador, if he has any, hopefully Deshaun Watson isn't introducing him to his massage women.
I don't think
he's in trouble.
I don't think Shador can afford that right now on his salary. There's that whole Cam Ward wanted this jersey. He's like, I'm not giving it to you. I got to keep every dollar I can. And DJ, your phone's not working, so I can't keep trying it out. Let me try one more time. All right,
Okay,
DJ.
so
All right, go ahead,
you.
Okay, go
Hey,
ahead.
I'm getting
DJ.
better. I'm learning here.
All right, real quickly, and I got to cycle around the phone line. So you said
what I was saying
Scatterboo in a
was, I know you
second?
said maybe a Brad Bat trade. Yeah, second, first. My point is, I would want to move off of. Even if he has a great year this year, I just don't see his. In other words, his value is going to be no higher than what it is.
Yeah, but his value is really good
And
right now. So if you're going to move off him,
Yeah.
DJ, you got it. I know you're saying you maybe do a different trade, okay, but you got to move off him for something significant. And what I would do if you're not going after an RB, if you are, you're going after these guys ahead of him. You're going after a Harvey, a Henderson, a Hampton, an H, and a Bucky, and you're trying to give up more with Chase Brown to get something. I think if you just did a 1-for-1, it would be hard to do that with an RB unless somebody just wanted to give one of these running backs straight up. If you're going to get rid of Chase Brown and move off of him, I don't know that it would be first rounders or anything. I don't think anybody's going to give you a first and a second or anything. Maybe they would. And even then, it's like, it's arguable. Like, what if it's a late first round pick? Then I'd rather have Chase Brown. But if you knew it could be a very high first round pick, you got a second round pick as well. You didn't need Chase Brown. You had somebody else you really liked. I could understand it. But I think you might be smart to go cross position, to go get a wide receiver, to go get a quarterback if you have no quarterback, to get a receiver like, I don't know, Marv, somehow, to go in that direction. But the best way to get rid of a player like Chase Brown is to give up more with Chase Brown to get a better player. I think the problem arises when there's a lot of doubt around him anyway, even if there's also value, that 1-for-1s make people sit there and ponder, what are the risks with Chase Brown? And then they start to not like the idea, the fact that they've been wanting another running back, the fact that he doesn't feel like he's solidified yet, which he could, but he does. He feels a lot like Achane and Kyron did when we said he would get solidified. Be patient and wait, it'll happen. I'm just not saying I feel as confident that he will get solidified and cemented in like I did with Achane or Kyron. So I think other people feel that way, and so you want to give up more to get someone not thinking about the fact that there's question marks. So the best way to get rid of a questionable player in some ways is to give up more, make it a 2-for-1, and then you're diluting the risk to other pieces, and then people don't focus on the one player and the concerns they might have. So that's the best way to get rid of Chase Brown is a 2-for-1. You're giving up Chase Brown and a second piece for one thing. That would be my advice.
So I was
Chase Brown and Debo Samuel
moving out.
type of thing.
I was just thinking that Chase Brown's value would give me a plus,
Yes.
a 2
Okay.
and a plus.
Gotcha.
But if you are right, so I wouldn't necessarily do a 1-for-1.
But you said Scatterboo, so you
a
panicked.
2
You
or-
panicked everybody because you said Scatterboo in a second, and everyone's like, "What did you just say?" So I panicked.
Right. Scatterboo, receiver, positional, perfectly fine. But if I was going to be moving down, I would think I would go for
Like,
Chase.
like I'm going for
plus, 2+.
I'm going
Moving
for
up, yeah.
I'm going
I'm
for
not too
these.
sure how far I could move up with the Chase.
I'm going
I
for
don't know
these
how-
three.
Is his value?
I'm going for these three running
ahead.
backs DJ, there's some sort of delay on the phone, so I'm going to hang up right now. Just call back in a few minutes. Let's see if it fixes it, because there's just a massive delay. Harvey, Henderson, Hampton, or Travis Hunter. So I'm going after like those 4 guys if I'm trying to do a Chase Brown trade today. And if I don't get it, then I move on to a different idea, but I'm swinging big. And I'm going that direction. Indy Joe, you've been waiting a while. Indy Joe, go ahead.
I appreciate it, Smitty. Real quick, so I think I got 2 things. Number one, after listening to this conversation and the discussion you guys are having, I think it's pretty obvious that, if you want to give yourself the best chance to win your league like this year, 2025, 2026, I think it's almost a must that you have a combination of one of the top 3 backs that you have and then the other 10s. Or the other 10 that you have listed. Would you agree with that?
No, not necessarily. I think there's 100,000 ways to win, bro. I mean, I could build a winning
but I mean, like, I think it's
free. I could trade my first rounder on my draft pick trading show. I could trade my first rounder for a second and a third, and kick back like an 8th or 9th or whatever, and just force, like, especially if I had a high pick, then you could do something like that. So now I have 2 seconds. I have 2 thirds. I have a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, a 7th. Okay, now I take my second. I got 2 seconds and 2 thirds. I take my second and late. Actually, I take my second and I get someone's 3rd and 4th. Then I try and take my 4th and another pick to get another 3rd. And I keep doing the thing, and I end up getting 6 picks in round 3. I do a draft pick trading video on this, and I get 6 picks in round 3. And so for me, I could win a championship with 6 picks from round 3. I could grab Harvey. I could grab, Kyron. I could grab JD5. I could grab Marv, JSN. Like you could assemble a dominant team. So I don't think there's any sort of like you need a championship. You need to have Bijan or Gibbs or Jeanty. I don't think so. I think it just depends on where you're drafting. I think I could win a championship with Bucky and Harvey as my top 2 running backs. Just depends on what my wide receivers are.
I think so too. I mean, if you want to win, it's obvious that one of these 13 guys or 2 of them, it's like essential to, give yourself the best opportunity to win your league like this year. My next question.
But I could argue that, like, give me one of these guys in a Charbonnet and a bunch of other Charbonnet type players and hero RB, I could find a way too. So I do agree that I want 2 of these running backs. I will agree with that. I do agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I guess. Like preferably 2 of these running backs out of the 13 is like almost essential, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that was just an observation.
Look, the other thing too.
So
the other thing too, though, is you got to draft to your strengths, bro. You can't draft the way I draft if it doesn't work for you. Some people can draft any given way. They're great drafters all around, but they're bad managers. They don't set their lineups. They aren't good at picking up guys. They dilly-dally here and there. They're horrible with trading. They trade away all their best players because they get an itch and they're addicted to trading. So like there's pros and cons to every fantasy manager's game. And if you know yourself and you're not good when you go hero RB or zero RB, and you're just better off having stud RBs, and you do better grabbing the JSNs from last year, the BTJs from last year, like that's your wheelhouse, then it doesn't matter what anybody else says. That's why I kind of pushed back on you when you said you kind of need this to win a champ. You don't need anything to win a championship, bro. You don't need anything. You just need what works for you and to draft the best team available at every pick, and you'll blow everyone out of the water. Yeah. So it just comes down to if you're good at drafting a tight end in round 2, you're good at drafting a tight end in round 2. Some people aren't because they chase the positions. You're chasing running back or wide receiver the whole draft, and you're not versed in that. So you end up really screwing up. It messes up your flow and rhythm in the drafting. You just make mistakes, and so you really gotta do what works for you. And the best part about Best Ball, Underdog, Code Smitty, even though Best Ball is a little different, and that link is pinned in the live chat. We'll draft here in a second. The reason why you gotta test out this stuff, even if you do mock drafts and you can't do Best Ball, but click the link and sign up. We're gonna draft in a minute, so you got to be signed up in order to draft with us. But the one thing I'll say is if you're gonna if you practice all these different approaches, you're prepared for everything. Some people say, Smitty, you tell me that to go best player available, but then you do a hero running back strategy video. Like, what do I do? I don't understand what you're saying. Let me make it as clear as possible. Always draft best player available. Okay? Think of it like this. What is best? This is the best way I could describe it. I think this is how I'm going to describe it from now on. Best player available is like playing chess. You're making the best move available. Now, are you castling? Are you doing this maneuver here, that maneuver here? You didn't plan on doing this maneuver before the board opened up, but you learned to do all the maneuvers. So at the end of the draft, when someone says you went hero RB, my reaction shouldn't be, yes, I know I did. It should be like, I did. I did go hero RB. Look at that. Because I'm versing myself in every sub-strategy that I can do, and best player available just walks me through the draft. And so if I draft the best, and the best player available is not the highest ranked player, that's auto drafting. That's drafting like your mom. Best player available is considering the board, considering your team, considering all these different things. And at the end of the day, you're making the best move on the clock. You don't stick to hero RB. You don't even know you're doing it. You shouldn't even really know you're doing hero RB. You should just be so good at drafting hero RB that when you're on the clock and you're heading that direction and you look at your team and you're in the 4th round, you're like, I'm going hero RB, I guess. You shouldn't be planning on going hero RB. You shouldn't be planning on going 0 wide receiver or 0 RB or quarterback early. You should just be like, I'm so versed in every single strategy. When I go to play chess, I'm prepared to use any move. And once you make that move, you might make the next move. But you're not planning, while you are looking 10 moves ahead, you're not planning your victory maneuver until you're deep into the game. So that's what the best way I could describe best player available and why you don't actually deploy hero RB when you think you deploy it. You're deploying it because it was given to you. That's the best way I can describe it. And that you what? You what?
I wasn't speaking. I think that was somebody else.
All right, I heard something, but best available is a bad strategy. I agree with Smitty a lot, but this one we'll disagree on. Freedom, you can call in and discuss why you think this is a bad strategy. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. Tell me how drafting the best player available when you're on the clock is a bad strategy, Freedom. I just can't wait to hear what you're going to say. I appreciate you. You know I love you, pal, but I don't know what in the hell you're talking about. Okay, let me go over to...
So my last thing
that
I was going to talk about, or just so one observation, I think that, and this isn't fantasy football related, but the AFC West, I would say this is the best coaching division of all time. As far as you got Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, Andy Reid, and Sean Payton, like that division is going to be really competitive and something to watch and something to observe. So that was something that was my original.
It is. I don't think all 3 of the wild card spots, if that's how the playoffs will be run this year, they're voting on some. I don't know if the vote takes place. It usually takes place immediately, which is insane that they do that. They don't give like a year buffer, but they're looking into potentially having the 7 highest ranked record teams slotted to go to the playoffs, which essentially is the same thing in a way of saying like the division winners don't get you in. So if KC wins the division, they don't get in, but they're going to get in because they're going to be one of the best records anyway. But essentially, I don't think these 3 wildcard spots are coming from these 3 teams. I think there are going to be some, Ravens or the Bengals, whichever one doesn't win the division. But there is a world where the division sends all 3 of these teams. That's how good the division is. But
yeah, I'm just looking at it. I mean, they're all Super Bowl winners.
They are.
And it's just like, wow, these, like these coaches, they're in the same division. This is something we've never seen, and it's going to be something to really watch and pay attention to.
All right, Indy Joe. Appreciate you, bro. Call back if you got another one.
Yep.
All right, let's get into a best ball draft real quickly, and then we'll continue the conversation. So you're going to go to Underdog The link is in the description pinned. The link's in the live chat. I'm sorry, the link's in the description for the replay viewers right now. So you're ready for the next time. And if you're in the live chat right now, the link's in the live chat pinned. You're going to go to Originals tab at the bottom. You're going to click on Active Drafts in the middle. You're going to click on Lobby. You're going to then select the NFL tab, and then I'll wait for a second to let people catch up. Or however else you want to navigate to it. And then you're going to see these featured draft contests, okay? We're going to scroll down to the puppy $5 entry, which is about 70% full. And we're going to click on that puppy. We're going to wait. There's a 20-second draft option. We're going to do that one. Everybody click the green button now. Let's jump in together. If you don't get in the draft with me, don't fret. Don't get upset. Don't get, like, just use the strategy we're deploying. And it filled really quickly. There was only a couple spots available. Like, you can never tell how many spots are going to get filled up, you know, how fast it would go. So let me go to drafts. Let me go to active drafts. Let me go to puppy and share my screen. And let me go around. Okay, Travis, what else you got? And then I'll go over to Ron. And then DJ.
Just quick on the Chase Brown thing. I think most people get it. You're not saying get away from Chase Brown. You're saying move Chase Brown if you can upgrade or make your team better by getting into someone might not recognize, like one of those rookie guys or whatever.
Is there confusion in the live chat about what I'm saying? Are people mad that I don't like Chase Brown?
No, it seems like DJ might have kind of just missing that a little bit. If I'm wrong, I apologize, DJ. And he said, like, he didn't care if he has a great season next year, but I would argue that if he has a great season like this coming year, his job will be more solidified. I think now is the risk.
I don't think anybody should be running away from Chase Brown. Let me make that point abundantly clear. But of DJ's comment was, and let me put this back up on screen, was I believe what he's trying to say is out of all of these players, the one player he would want to move off on before value did go down, just take advantage of the high value, would be Chase Brown, which I agree with. Out of all the players on this board, the one that feels least solidified is Chase Brown. But what Travis just said is true. If he goes out and smashes, he will have more of a cementing in. But right now, as much as everybody wants to say, oh no, he has to be good, this has some feelings and vibes of a situation that could unfold a little bit. And there's nothing tethered to Chase Brown that makes him invincible. Harvey's invincible unless he suffers a catastrophic injury and somebody steps in and does amazing like Chuba Hubbard did, you know, and hit in that situation. It's not Estime, but it's certainly something that you got to consider. And so if you wanted to get into one of these, I kind of disagree with the way DJ was trying to go about it. I'm just trying to get Harvey, Hendy, Hampton, Hunter, someone like that, Bucky, HN for my Chase Brown, which means I got to give up more. I'm not really in the business of trying to trade Chase Brown straight across from somebody because I don't think someone's going to give me what I want. So if I'm trading him away, I'm just getting a player I've ranked higher. That's as simple as it is. People don't need to make it difficult. And nobody needs to be upset because Chase Brown has some risk factors. He does. You can't deny it. You may not like it, but you can't deny it. There's risk involved. It could be risk that he overcomes. No one's saying he doesn't also have upside and appeal. So far on this draft,
you mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I took CeeDee Lamb second overall. It went Chase, Lamb, Barkley, JJ, Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty, Hookah, Malik, Amon-Ra, Nico, McCaffrey. McCaffrey's been going in the 1-2 turn more than I've seen. Lately, he's been going like, I can't believe people are ranking him that high. He's returning to the first round. He's bumping BT down. Remember when HN was number 7, 8, 9? Now HN's freaking 19.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I love that. Put McCaffrey cemented into the top 10. I love it. I love it.
That's great.
It's fantastic. All right. Okay, Bucky.
If you're coming up, let me know.
Yeah, I'm coming up here. Bucky just got taken. It's going to be hard for these guys to fall. Do I go McBride? I've got Lamb. I think I'm going to go McBride here. I could go Garrett Wilson. I love Garrett Wilson this year. I'm going to go McBride. I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb and McBride.
Wait on a tight end.
That's a fantastic duo. I can wait on a tight end or draft McBride. I think neither one's wrong. Rashee Rice. Okay, so this is a situation where, see, there's Chase Brown. Do I go Kyron here or Garrett Wilson and go late running back shopping? I think I'm gonna go.
Get away sooner.
I think I'm gonna take Kyron early and just because I balance here.
Yeah.
So CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, and Kyron.
You get a long way.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna get later. I love that. Whenever I can, if you can deploy best player available and have a balanced team like this, you're unstoppable unless you make bad picks.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Now, who's saying Jimmy Garoppolo? That's got to be wrong. Why do you keep saying Jimmy Garoppolo? Why do you keep saying
Because I
that?
know he's one of your worst hated players ever.
I don't hate him.
Whenever you say best player available, I got to bring him up.
Yeah, I don't
But
hate
good
him.
on you for catching me. I was wondering how long it would take you to figure it out.
Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't hate him. I don't hate anybody, by the way. But I don't. I hate his value.
Player.
Yeah, I know. I just want people to know. Some people think I hate Jimmy Garoppolo, and I don't. I think he's.
Someone in the chat got offered.
Offered what?
Sorry. Someone in the chat got offered Gibbs for Jeanty. Would you just hold Jeanty?
I mean, as I just, went over. They're all three like neck and neck, and I could go in any direction.
Yeah.
I think if I have Gibbs, I'm probably holding him. I think if I have Jeanty, I want to hold him because I want to have a share of Jeanty. So it also depends. Do I have Jeanty anywhere else? Do I have Gibbs anywhere else? All things being equal, I'm going to make a selfish executive decision to make sure I have at least one share of each. It's just so hard to say I want to trade Jeanty for Gibbs or Gibbs for Jeanty. I just think we know what Gibbs is 100%. We know what Jeanty probably is going to be 99%. So give me Gibbs. That's a logical break. The reason
back to Chase Brown.
Well, real quickly, Ron, the reason this rank makes sense, and I don't care about Gibbs. I'll even put Gibbs tied with Bijan because I think that makes the argument easier. These guys, we know what they are. We know what they are. We are pretty damn 99.9% sure we know what Jeanty is. But because there is that slight chance that, there's a Marvin Harrison Jr. type situation, I'm not saying you fear that. I'm just saying because there is always going to be that until a player does it. There's always going to be it's not 100% locked in. You got to see Gibbs and Bijan is a little bit more safe. But you know what? Like I said, if I've got Gibbs and Bijan in another league and I don't have any Jeanty, I'd make the trade in a heartbeat. Give me Jeanty. Let me make this pick, Ron, and then you can say what you're about to say. I've got McBride, CeeDee Lamb, and Kyron. JD5 just went. Cortland Sutton just went. I'm on deck. James Cook just went. Damn, man. I don't think I can pass Harvey here. I know I'm reaching a little, but this is in Snipe City environments. So I've got Lamb, Trey McBride, Kyron. Oh, this guy's going wide receiver. It doesn't matter what I do because he's leaving everybody. Wow. That is such a bad decision, my boy. Do I go Hurts? I got Burrow. I'm going to time out on Burrow. I queued him just in case. I almost went Trey Henderson and punted quarterback because I figure I'm definitely going to have quarterbacks I like later. So part of me wanted to go with the two rookies with Kyron, but This feels really good. Lamb, McBride, Kyren, Harvey, Joe Burrow. Not complaining at all. Yeah, it's a puppy, Matt. All right, go ahead, Ron.
No, like if you wanted to get rid of Chase and to get upgrade your running back, what about like trading a Chase and Debo?
Trading Jamar Chase for Debo?
Not Chase.
Chase Brown.
Not Jamar Chase.
Oh, trading
Brown,
Chase Brown for Debo? I don't
Brown.
think you could get a lot more than Debo for
No,
Chase.
no. Trading, you said multiple pieces. So if you wanted to get a Jeanty or
Okay.
one of the new guys, combination, a Chase and a Debo for, like a Jeanty or a Hampton or one of those.
Let me get this straight. You have this and you're trying to ask me what you're trying to do, right? You got this combo?
Yeah, because you say multiple players.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just trying
Chase
to
with somebody.
trying to get your-
Saying if you put Chase with
Yeah,
a
I got
Debo
you.
combination,
I got you.
trade them.
I know. I got what you're
Okay.
saying. I'm just saying this
All right.
is what you have. I can tell. Okay. So if I was trying to trade that, yeah, I mean, if you're just going running back shopping, I would give that up in a millisecond for Bijan, Gibbs, Jeanty, Bucky, Achan. I think where it gets a little dicey is, Harvey, Henderson, Hampton. I love those guys, but Chase Brown's in their wheelhouse. It's just not, like I said, as secure of a situation. So, would I go after Lamb? Would I go after Neighbors? Would I go after BTJ? Would I go after, all those players. Brock Bowers, probably. Trey McBride, probably. Those all make sense. What other ideas do you have? And I can shoot it down or.
Well, no, that's just the pairing is what I was getting at. So like Chase Brown and like a Debo Samuels type of player, Debo Samuels type of player. To pair them up with to trade up for somebody else.
Debo's gonna be hard to trade in Dynasty though. People are just wild about that.
Well,
I think you
still like Debo though.
Go to
they
the
like
JD
him that
owner.
he's in Washington now.
Go to the JD5 owner.
Something like that, maybe. I mean, Jeanty is insanely expensive right now. It's very hard to get Jeanty with a 1.1.
I'm gonna time out here, so I'm gonna bully QB anyway. This guy's just gonna take receivers anyway, so it doesn't matter. Damn it, I don't know who I like here. It got thin really quick. Up in here. Damn it. Jerry Judy.
Gadabu's still there.
Ricky Pearsall. I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to time out on my cue.
Gadabu's there.
Jerry Judy. I don't hate the pick. I don't love. Yeah, I don't hate the pick. I don't love the pick, but it got real thin real quickly.
Jerry Judy.
I like Judy if Shador gets in. I think that's a good match.
I mean, Judy had 1,000-yard season, and he was really good last year. Also, it's crazy to think about how young he is. You think of him, you think of like a 29-year-old receiver, but
he's on the ground.
I went bully QB, and I've got Kyren, Harvey, Lamb, and Judy, McBride. Feeling pretty good. It just thinned out. There's just nothing. It was Shakir. Some people like Shakir. Jacoby Myers, Hawkinson. Already have McBride. Golden. Not a fan of Golden. Not a fan of Jerry Judy there, but it just, I was timing out. I didn't want to. I could have took Ricky Pearsall, but I don't even love Ricky. I think he's okay.
I did that Mahomes Bo Nix combo that you were talking about last week.
I like that.
I've been doing a lot of Daniels too, JD5 and Prescott. So I've been able to get like JD5 with McLaurin or JD5 and Debo, along with CeeDee Lamb, Prescott, and Pickens combination.
Nice. Who else is on the phone line? DJ, you want to try and call him back? And you can. It was just there was a weird delay or something. Your phone was acting up.
You don't like Mooney though? I mean, with Penix Jr., you don't like?
Who said I don't like?
You don't think he's gonna have a good year?
Who said that? You're like my mom, Ron. You don't like her?
Huh?
Where you drop those? But you asked it like you had these conclusions drawn. You're like, you don't like Mooney, but with Penix Jr. there, you don't think he's gonna do good, huh?
Well, no, because you took Judy ahead of him, so I just wondered.
Doesn't mean I don't like him. Doesn't mean I don't like him. I like Mooney, but you know, there's thoughts that he could have fallen.
There goes Mooney.
There's thoughts he could have fallen to me later, you know. But I like Mooney. I think he's good. I don't think he's a lock to. There's a lot of mouths to feed. There's Bijan catching balls. There's Kyle Pitts catching balls. There's some thought to like, hey, let's see if we can get him a steal. And I tried. I missed. It's fine. I'm kind of curious about Pacheco this year there he just went. At this territory, like we're talking almost around 9. You know, Brashard Smith and Pacheco, I feel like you grab both of them, you're probably going to... I mean, Hunt's still there, but hard to say. I don't really know how I feel about it. It's hard to see him continue to fall, though, because there's still upside. He's pretty intriguing in round 9. Even though I'm not super high on him. Kyler just went. What is his team doing from the 1 slot? Bo Nix. I love the Bo Nix pick. I definitely would consider him if I didn't already have 2 QBs. Love Bo Nix. Ibuka, I knew I was going to get sniped again. I'm just going to get sniped this whole. Kelsey's pretty good here. I already have a tight end, though. Scattaboo's interesting here. I'll go Scat Attack.
Kelsey's really good value for Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm waiting, though, because this guy is going to go wide receiver shopping. This guy loves wide receivers. Look at that. Chase, McLaurin, Rashee Rice. Oh, he took Kelsey. Son of a bitch.
You watch this show, man.
Yeah, I should have shut my mouth.
Yeah, but there's a delay, so he wouldn't have got what I said.
Maybe
with a delay.
No, Kelsey at this point is
yeah.
Value.
I like
Jonathan Smith though.
I needed an RB
nice.
and I already have McBride, so I'm not too worried about that stack. So Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Kyron, RJ Harvey, Scattaboo, Lamb, Judy, McBride, Jonnu Smith. I'm doing a bully tight end and bully quarterback situation and still feeling decent about the depth. I'm fine with it.
Bully. You only got 2 receivers.
That's the way I get it. This territory, Ron. There's nothing here I like better than the guys 4 or 5 rounds down. So I will always win.
I know.
DJ, let's see if your phone.
Well, you got that guy in the 2nd spot that's taking all the receivers.
Yeah. The guy at the 3rd spot is also taking the players that I'm either queuing or. Go ahead, DJ. You're live.
Real quick, because I can't multitask like you. I'm in the draft. Listen, when I talk football, and which is why I enjoy the show, I never take anything like personal. As long as I'm able to kind of communicate what my point was, whether it's right or wrong. So never do I take anything like personal. So, yeah, I get it. Trade up if you can. If you got a value piece like that, trade up. I was just thinking maybe I could get a little bit more in terms of building out for future years.
I got you.
So, but right on, gentlemen. Yep.
All right.
I'm trying to jump back in. I think that's it.
All right. Yeah. Anybody else want to dial in about this running back ranking? Again, Gibbs, Bijan, Jeanty's all, blender, just preference. I mean, Jeanty's going to be a monster, but I still think Bijan feels like the safest RB in the league. I mean, his workload's pretty damn cemented in. And then you've got, the emergence of Penix Jr. and the offense is just going to explode. Gibbs is cemented in. Jeanty cemented in. These are the three most cemented in workhorse running backs in the league. Gibbs is a workhorse. Make no mistake about it. Doesn't matter even if they give Monty even more work this year than last year. Gibbs is getting workhorse volume. Doesn't have to be carries. It's volume. Bucky probably cemented into his volume, but there's a little bit like new coaching. Like what's going to happen? You're just kind of waiting on the H-An. He's tied so much to Tua in Miami, Mike McDaniel, that there's concern. Harvey's probably, this is what makes me in some ways want to put Harvey as the fourth running back this year in redraft, let alone consider it in Dynasty, is I feel like Harvey is as guaranteed as anybody to get work now. So Harvey's quietly almost like my running back 4. I just, obviously we're trying to get him cheaper, but Harvey's going to explode. Who's on the phone line? Oh, hold on, I'm on the clock. 1 second. Yeah, this guy in front of me, just every single pick. Who's fully loaded? Taking Sharps, you're taking everyone. Jack Besh is not bad.
Fully loaded?
Yeah.
Oh, fully loaded, Smitty. He plays best ball. He plays all the sports. He's in all the
who is he at?
All the dailies.
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
He's not part of your community, I don't think.
I think he is. Garendo.
Fully loaded?
Oh, damn it. I timed out on Brock Purdy. Hold on, Ron. You're making me time out. You got Brock motherfucking Purdy.
I'm not making you do anything.
I got Brock Purdy, Ron. It's all your fault. Damn Brock Purdy. Son of a B.
I didn't make you do that. Why are you putting the blame on me?
It sounded like my mom was yelling at me while I was doing it. Sonny boy.
No, you said who's this fully loaded guy?
I know.
I was just explaining to you who he is because I see him all the time.
I know you were, Ron. Okay. Sorry. Who was I going to get on the phone line? 1 second, Ron. Gump. Oh, it's Gump. Gump. Go ahead, Gump. You're live. Let's see how long it takes to hang up on Gump.
Oh, man. We know we love Harvey. Come on. I can't wait to when draft time comes around. We got him hanging in the wind, and I pick him. Harvey's going to be the man. You know what I mean?
Do I know what you mean? You're calling into a Harvey show. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I do know what you mean.
Okay.
I'm grabbing him if I get it.
Okay, just making sure we're clear.
I'm
You call an hour and 37 minutes into a show and ask me, do I know what you mean? Harvey's going to be good. You know what I mean? You're calling into the Harvey show, bro. This is Harvey Day. We had a Harvey show at 8 p.m. and now this is another Harvey show.
Listen. You pick Goff. You pick Purdy over Goff.
Did I take Gump? You said, do I pick Gump?
Goff.
I timed out, Gump. I timed out. Didn't you see me scream when I picked Brock Purdy?
I know you did.
Okay.
I just couldn't focus on your draft.
No, I didn't want Brock Purdy. Focus. Brock Purdy didn't deserve the money. He doesn't deserve to be on my team.
Well, let me make the next pick.
So watch. At the end of the year, you're gonna win, and it's gonna be this team.
I'll gladly give him props if he wins me a championship. Problem is, I highly doubt that he's gonna crack my lineup with Joe Burrow. Hold on to talking, Gump.
Hey,
hold on.
They got the easiest schedule.
I got Burrow and Mahomes, so I highly doubt he's knocking those guys out of the lineup much. All right, Gump, what were you trying to interrupt me saying? Gump?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let me make the next pick.
Do I go Trey Benson? I need a running back. Or Garendo. Go Trey. Good pick, Gump. Good pick, Gump. Good. I got him. Thank you. Good pick, Gump. Okay, on the clock. McMillan. Tank Bigsby.
McMillan. Oh, wait. Bigsby's there?
Dude, I just
Grab
said
Tank. Come on.
No, I took
Grab
McMillan. You said
him.
take McMillan. I took McMillan.
Oh, McMillan's good. You're kind of low on receiver. Oh.
Go. Bigsby's there. Oh, is Bigsby there? Oh, Gump.
I do like pants.
Damn it, Gump. Damn it. Damn it, Purdy. Ruined my whole
McMillan's-
draft. Ruined my whole draft.
McMillan's good. Don't worry about that.
I'm not worried about McMillan, Gump. I'm worried about Purdy. Listen. CeeDee Lamb, Judy, Besh, McMillan, McBride, Jonu, Kyron, Harvey, Scattaboo, Trey Benson, Burrow, Mahomes, Purdy. Son of a B.
Oh my God.
Now I should have taken Ricky. I don't know. This one got all jacked up. This super chat from Sim says Gump over SpaceX. Sim Valley likes you more than he likes SpaceX. How's that make you feel, Gump?
You know how I feel. I like
Ray-
Orchard View Cardinals, North End Stones.
Hey, Ray G and Ill Phil, you still here? I'm so sorry, bro. This is really helpful. Liz Smitty, thank you. Thank you, Ill Phil, for dropping that. I'm so sorry about the delay. And Ray G, you still there? Hopefully Ray G is still here. I think Brees has a bunch of field days this year. No pun intended. Look, Fields looks fantastic right now. And I love the Fields haters out there. Is Fields on the moon, man? Kind of feel like he might be.
The moon men
I'm
dropping
grabbing
loads
golf
in
and
outer
field.
space.
Yeah, Fields is on the moon.
I'm grabbing.
Yup, I'm talking. Hold on. Fields is on the moon man list.
Space Moon says.
He looks fantastic. He's going to turn Garrett Wilson into a top 7 wide receiver. Fields looks remarkably good right now. He looks efficient. He looks better than Jared Goff right now. He's looking like an absolute monster. I'm sorry, you there, Gump?
Hey, don't
I think
flip
Gump
those,
hung up on you.
don't flip them blueberry pancakes too soon. Come on now.
Blueberry pancakes. Ray G, you still out there? Ray G and Ill Phil, appreciate you. Ill Phil's there. He heard me. He heard me answer your super chat, right? Dick Nasty explain 7 of 9 voice. Ill Phil, you sound crazy. What did Ill Phil? What did Ill Phil say? What did Ill Phil say? Collinsworth now. Just last year, it seemed these Lions were going places, and then they lose their offensive and defensive coordinator. Oh, Ill Phil, shots fired. Woo! Gump, you hear that? Gump, did you hear that?
That's ridiculous. Just focus on the draft. Don't listen to that. Rid of it. Focus on the draft.
Gump keeps interrupting. You guys have control over Gump by just hitting the X's. I mean, 3 red X's and he's gone.
Jeez.
All right, let me see.
I thought I was doing the next pick.
Cedric Tillman or Cedric Tillman? I got Jerry Judy, so.
Cedric Tillman.
Thank you. Good pick, Gump.
Tillman.
Thank you. All right, now I got 3 QBs. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Can kind of go any which direction here. Are we liking Gump? Are we liking Michael Wilson, Pat Bryant, Dylan Sampson?
Sampson, you know, come on. You know we like some Sampson.
Gesicki to go with Burrow.
There you go, Gump.
Sampson.
There you go, Gumpy. Gump's making these calls, Ron. This is a $5 Gump draft. Taking a dump with Gump. This is a taking a dump with Gump, graveyard style.
What? When's your birthday?
My birthday's next month, June. You know that's right. Pool
No,
party.
Smitty's birthday.
I don't
Smitty,
know.
when's your birthday?
Yeah. I don't really put it out there.
Do it, but tell me. We had a whole show on it last year.
It's in March. That's all I really say.
What'd you do for your birthday? That's the big question. What would you do? What'd you do? That's what we want to know.
Not too much.
No, it wasn't this last March, but it was the March before. I found out that it was his birthday, and we ended up calling him out.
So what did he do? Did he go to the rock concert? Did he go to
Well, we went to Disneyland roughly around, for the birthday month. but not necessarily on my birthday. But
Okay. That's good.
yeah,
I missed your birthday this year.
we went. Aaron Rodgers was supposed to get to announce his announcement, during my birthday month, and we're still waiting.
Yeah.
What's the
Dynasty.
next pick? Who do we focus on?
We're a ways away, Gump. So hang tight.
Who's hanging in the wind?
Let me. I'm probably gonna cycle the phone line off because I'm probably gonna bolt. I'm tired. We got some shows to do tomorrow though. But let me go over to.
Can I tell you
Phil.
why I called in?
Phil's gone, or DJ's gone. DJ, appreciate you. DJ must have hung up. Go ahead, Gump. Why'd you call?
Well, I just happened to hear from the Detroit Lions rumor line, but it's really not rumor, right?
Why are
From
you
the coaches.
whispering? We can't hear you when you whisper. No one's trying to hear you.
Because it's late at night. It's late at night here. But anyway, Hendy Hooker's looking really good out there. His footwork, his passing, his deciding about plays. He's
Finish him.
Really up.
Call
I made that easy. Okay, let me move over onto Ron. Ron, very, very long-winded exit. You can speak whatever you want. Go ahead. Go.
No, I'm working on something that I'm working on something I'm gonna get you.
Okay, I'll DM you after.
But when I get it, you're gonna have to tell me where I can send it to.
Okay, I'll DM you after.
But I don't have it yet.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got? Anything else running back related?
Running back related?
Give me a
Oh,
bold.
I
Give
think,
me a
what
bold.
do you
Give me a
think of
positive. Give me a positive bold prediction running back related, and a negative bold prediction running back related.
Well, that running back that New Orleans got is his name Nolan?
Devin Neal.
Nolan?
Neal.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do something down there.
You didn't even know his name though.
Neil Nolan. I got the end part right.
Okay. What do you think's gonna happen?
Now you make me feel like I'm Benny. Damn.
All right. How many
No,
more?
I just have a feeling that he's gonna work out down there.
He could.
And I don't know. You think Wright will have a year? He had a disappointing year last year with Miami. Do you think he does better this year?
I mean, they drafted Ollie Gordon.
McDaniel was talking about that.
They drafted Ollie Gordon, and he might be.
McDaniel said something about right today.
Yeah. What do you say?
So you think he's just gonna fall off?
I don't know.
Let's see if I can find. I don't think it was anything big.
I think what I liked about Wright was he had the quickest 5 yards 40 time. And that's the most important for a running back hitting the hole. He had the fastest 5 yard section of his 40-yard dash. So I liked a lot of things about him, but yeah, the burst. But I mean, but we got to keep in mind, Kyron failed his rookie year too. He got hurt, didn't work out. So you can't write a player off entirely. But when they draft Ollie Gordon,
Right.
who feels like a banger, between the tackles, and you got Achane playing that inverse wide back role, makes me feel like Ollie Gordon might end up taking over. So I
think Gordon's big. He's a big guy.
Yeah, I would probably say that
feels
if
that.
Didn't draft Ollie Gordon, I'd feel kind of good about Wright, but I think we don't know who's the between the tackle Mostert replacement, and we really do need a Mostert replacement to make sure we keep Achane in that inverse wide back role. He's like the inverse version of Deebo Samuel. He's the running back playing wide receiver versus the wide receiver playing running back. That's what you need out of Achane. Achane doesn't need 2 and 3 yard carries. Like those very low efficiency. Achane was, coming out of his rookie year, the highest yard per carry player in the history of the NFL. It was like 7.9 or something. I forget what it was, 7.6, 7.9 yards per carry. He was the best running back in the league, in the history of the league in yards per carry. and then you give him these up the gut runs, he's gonna average 2 or 3 yards like anybody would. That's why Najee's always got low yards per carry. They give him all the grunt work, and that's why Caleb Johnson's not necessarily one of my favorite players. He's gonna get all that grunt work. Gordon, I don't know. We need Gordon or Wright to step up and be efficient. I think Gordon's a little more attractive to me. Hold on. Gump wants in one more time. Let me get, hold on one second. Gump, let me get Gump in here. Gump, you got 10 seconds, Gump. That's it. 10 seconds and you're out of here. 10 seconds. Go.
Well, the big question of the day, it's going to run in hot today out of Detroit, is the call that was made when freaking JW, which you call JMO, I call him JW now.
Finish him.
There's a reason we created this for Gump. We created this for Gump right here. This is what we call the no-nonsense phone line that unfortunately is needed on this channel. And we're going to play this whenever we need to get the ball rolling. That means, and Ron, just so you know up front, don't take offense if you ever get hung up on this phone line. Travis, even, don't get upset if you get hung up on. No, everybody should have thick skin. When I activate this, you're about to see it. This means there's no, can you hear me? Hello. Hey, Smitty. Or like Ron, let's say there's a guy that says, hey, this is Steve from Florida. And Ron goes, hey, what part of Florida are you from? When this mode's activated, everyone gets hung up on that creates any sort of delay. Somebody got all mad in the chat the other day. They're like, imagine hanging up on people and thinking you're that important. This is important. And when we need to go in speed mode, it's just the nature of that moment and segment. There's no offense. Don't take offense to it. Hold on, I gotta draft this player real quick. How many players I got? I need a wide receiver or running back. Let's go wide receiver. Let's take. Do you guys like Amari Cooper at all? Do you think, or Savion Williams?
Yeah,
Get something left.
if he goes to the right place.
Savion or Amari?
Savion.
I'd take a chance on Amari.
All right. So here's the phone line activation. Okay, so when Gump's like, here, let me tell you, can I tell you a story? Can I tell you something, Smitty? Like, those are all wasted words that nobody needs to see. This is what we activate.
The no-nonsense phone line protocol has been activated. No small talk, greetings, or story build-ups will be tolerated and will result in disconnection.
So when that is activated, it will remain open. You'll see the green bars on the side of the screen. That means anybody, and I'm not going to keep it activated now, but anybody that calls in and dilly-dallies at all just gets hung up on. It's no, don't get mad over it. It's the part of that phone line experience. Okay, so just letting everybody know so nobody gets mad later. Ron, I could see Ron being like, I'm not going to get... But then Ron calls in.
What about those with speech impediments that can't get out?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a no-nonsense phone line. It doesn't, yeah.
Not made for that segment.
We'll call it as it comes. We'll call it as we see it.
Disabilities don't count.
We'll call it as we see it. We'll call it as we see it. It might be a case-by-case situation. Maybe someone that calls in with some sort of, whatever case may be, they're still delivering outstanding, delivery. Like it still could be, it could be perfect. So we'll figure it out as it goes.
I'm waiting for the first Tourette's person to call into the show. Well,
they might still be more delivering at a higher rate than Gump is. When Gump calls in and goes, can I ask you a question? Hey, Gump, I just gave you the floor. Is it okay if I ask you a question? How is the 24... okay, here we go. We got a negative super chat. I love these when people spend money to get mad. How is a 24-year-old unproven rookie RJ Harvey above younger proven Brees at 24 years old, proven Kyron, even 21-year-old unproven Judkins? The age scares me. Amon, I've already delved into this a ton. When I start talking about, go to today's show, the 8 p.m. show where I talk all about Harvey. It's literally a Harvey show. I can't be held responsible for your inability to to accept a prediction. I can't be held responsible for me saying something that you don't agree with and that comes across as either a hatred take on a player, or that I have to be wrong because he's unproven. What do you mean? Amon, what am I supposed to do? Like, first of all, Amon, I told you about Kyron. So I think if anybody has the ability to say something over a player over Kyron, it would be the guy that drove the Kyron truck through the building. You know, like, I think I have a little authority on who could be the next Kyron or better than Kyron. But for the same reasons that people said, you can't pick Kyron over this guy, Smitty. Kyron's unproven. And we picked Kyron, and Kyron smashed. So in a sense, aren't you being hypocritical by saying I can't predict the next Kyron when I predicted the next Kyron when it was Kyron? When I said Achane was going to prove everybody wrong, but he's unproven. He's a small guy that's going to be injured, Smitty. How can you put Achane or Kyron above these guys? I did it then. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Let's wait and see till Harvey does it. And when he does it, then I'll be high on him and we'll be late to the party. Like, I gotta plant my flag when I feel like the player's going to explode. Bucky certainly felt like a unsteady player last year when we loved the hell out of Bucky. Now he looks like gold. And yeah, Breece Hall, you heard me talk up Breece Hall. Love Breece Hall. But Breece Hall's doubted as can be. You can get him so cheap. I'm not going to rank him any higher than I have to. I'm certainly going to talk about where, and as I did, that I moved him from the back of that low row spot to the front of it because I do believe there's a lot left. I even said that. But Harvey over Hall? Abso-freaking-lutely. Hendy over Hall? Hampton over Hall? Of course. And there's obviously a lot of youth behind that. There's a lot of mileage that isn't on the table for these three guys. These rookies are going to have 5-6 years of productivity. There's a lot that goes into it. But like I said, I'm not like against you having Hall in this top tier or this tier with Hendy, Harvey, and Hampton. I'm just baffled when people think that I can't have my stance either, or that my stance is crazy. You can have your stance, but you're never going to hear me go, you're out of your mind. How could you possibly have Hall above Harvey, Henderson, and Hampton? I wouldn't even say that because you could have that. It's arguable. How is mine not arguable? How is it crazy to you that Harvey, who looks like a monster right now, and I did a whole show, go watch it, that you'll love. I think you'll start to warm up to him. How am I not allowed to like Harvey over Breece Hall? How am I not allowed to like Harvey? I even said this. You know I love Bucky. You know I love Achane. Part of me thinks this is how good Harvey is. Some of me thinks that Harvey is the 4th best running back in the league, potentially, with the volume he's going to get. I have him here. I'm not putting my cart in front of my horse, but I'm certainly bold enough, I guess, to say this because it rubs people the wrong way. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, you're free to call in and ask and talk about it if you want. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
Nothing.
Oh.
I do have a bone to pick with you, though.
All right. What is it? If you got a bone to pick with me, then let me hit a button real quick.
Wait a minute. Let me talk for a minute.
Oh.
The no-nonsense phone line protocol has been activated.
The no-nonsense phone line
greetings
has been activated.
Build-ups will be tolerated and will result in disconnection.
Okay, I got a good comment. I like Harvey as much as I would like Charbonnet starting running back.
Finish him. Call terminated.
I don't even know what that meant. I don't even know what he's trying to say. Amon, thank you for the super chat and an opportunity.
I think he meant that he would like to see Charbonnet be a starting running back, just like Harvey be a starting running back.
Harvey is a starting.
I think he was saying if Charbonnet was starting, you would like Harvey over Charbonnet. If Charbonnet had the job.
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. BTJ and 3.5 for 1.5 and Pickens and McMillan. BTJ. Give me B. Well, that's a tough one. I mean, I'd say probably give me BTJ over the 1.5, but you know how much I love Harvey. Harvey and Pickens is a lot. Oh, man. I think it kind of depends on Gump. You've had enough, bro. You've had enough. I'll send you to the voicemail. Go leave a voice. Well, Gump, leave a voicemail. I might play it. I don't know. Chat, what do you think here? BTJ in the 3.5 rookie pick or probably Harvey and Pickens and McMillan? That's really tough. BTJ is like...
I like that.
You know...
If you could get Travis to go along with it, Travis Hunter and BTJ, that'd be a killer combo.
Well, yeah, but there's no Travis Hunter in this conversation, though. I mean, you could draft him at 1.5 maybe.
Well,
but you would have BT gone. But BTJ in 3.5. I'd probably say if you could guarantee me Harvey, which I think you can at this
is it a
point.
rookie draft?
Yeah, 1.5. So I'd probably take I guess I'd take Harvey and Pickens. I think Pickens is going to do pretty well. But that's so hard. BTJ is a monster. That's so hard. Chat, what do you think on that one? Danny, you still here? Thank you for the super chat. I mean, BTJ's safer. But I'd take the Harvey and Pickens and McMillan side. Not that McMillan does much, but I
think Pickens is going to have a big year this year.
Yeah, it could be really nice. It could be a really nice
marriage. Finally has a quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, final thought, Ron, and then I got to jump.
Yeah, my bone to pick.
Okay, go ahead.
I know, Travis, you remember this. I know Travis got to remember this. Remember when Smitty promised me a Kirk Cousins video? I never got one.
You really want it now? I'll damn it. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be such a bad one.
That you owe me a video.
Yeah.
Sometime this year, I'm going to say, Smitty, I want a video on this player.
Okay.
You owe it to me.
I'll owe you a video, but rather than waste time on something that will make fun of Kirk Cousins, let's do a positive one. Let's figure out a positive. Give me a player.
I was going to say, well, Kirk Cousins gets traded, and if he gets traded,
like that.
Yeah.
You can wait. If Ron's willing to wait.
He's going to go. He's going somewhere to die.
I'm going to die.
You really think Kirk Cousins is going to go? He's going to go to New Orleans, or I mean, there's only like 2 spots he could go to. Pittsburgh, maybe.
Yeah,
but he goes to Pittsburgh. Will Howard's is going to go in at some point. We know that. If he goes to New Orleans, he's going to get smashed.
He's going to get what? Smashed by who?
I mean, I just think that team is just...
I'd argue Shuck might be able to compete with Cousins right now.
Yeah. Shuck's older than him.
I know.
They're only about 10 years apart. I think they might be 9 years apart. That's crazy. Kirk Cousins is 35, 36, whatever. Shuck's like 10 years younger. Yeah, Shuck was such a bad pick. I can't believe they didn't take Shador. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, even the Browns are dumb. Gabriel over Shador. Like, I know they took him anyway, but it's stupidity. They could have grabbed a different player. It was dumb. The Browns were absolutely stupid taking Gabriel.
Yeah, but they're so afraid of doing anything with quarterbacks. They had to draft 2 just to try to cover them and watch them both fail.
I mean, Kyler Murray towers over Gabriel. Is crazy. The guy's not playing at the NFL level. Gabriel is the worst prospect. It is such a dumb move by the Browns. All right, I got to go, boys. Ron, calling tomorrow. Appreciate you.
I'll try.
All right. Travis, final thought? Later, man.
No, I'm good. Later, Ron. See you, Smitty. Talk to you later.
Later, man.
Bye.
All right. Did Gump leave a message? He didn't. Denny left one.
Well, it's Suns are up by 11, just like I thought they would.
This is a couple days ago.
Yeah, in the third, 6:59, man. Suns is up by 11, man. Come on, man. I'm sick of your shit. I mean, not your shit, but the haters. I hate the haters. Denny's Marine. I know a lot of people love that because I'm USMC. And a lot of people can't claim that.
Denny's a Marine. Denny's a Marine. A lot of people can't claim
You're
that.
right, Smitty. Birdie sucks. You're right. I saw it the other day. I watched the old shows. But that Birdie sucks. So that's, I'm on your side on that one. All right. I'll talk to you later. Oh, I'm okay. Birdie sucks.
And then there's about 30 seconds of dead air before he actually hangs up the phone. You got to love our boy Denny. Appreciate every single one of you. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time as usual. And that bat time is whenever news breaks as a live stream. And then also, we're live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Also, we're live at midnight Eastern almost every single night, which is what you just saw here tonight. We did a Dynasty show tonight because the Dynasty content is now on the main channel. And the Dynasty channel has turned into Fantasy Football Unplugged, which will be the behind the scenes. The Dog the Bounty Hunter meets Keeping Up with the Smitties. That's what the Unplugged channel will be about. See you all tomorrow. Again, live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live whenever news breaks with additional live streams. And then additional, live at midnight Eastern. See you all tomorrow. Thank you, mods. See you on Discord, by the way. Or, I'm sorry, Patreon. See you on Patreon. $10 a month live chat group. It's basically the YouTube live stream chat. Just on over on Patreon. I'm going to go right there right now to the Patreon. Here's the link. Links in the description of every video if you need to attack the link later. But hit the link right now and sign up. It's $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Your boy is going to go over to the Patreon right now to chat. So join me over there right now. Appreciate you all. Thank you for all my super chats. Thank you, Ray G. Ray G, I hope you heard my answer. I don't know if you're still there. Ill Phil, thank you for your super chat. Sim Valley, thank you. Denny. Thank you, Danny. Aman, thank you for your super chat, even though I passionately answered your question. Hopefully you didn't take that the wrong way. See you all later. Appreciate you.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day, the other is for getting chicks.
Got him.